Imagine this. You plant your herbs once, and for years to come, you can harvest them right outside your door without needing to replant every season. Sounds like magic, right? Well, it's not. Today, I'm going to show you how to build your own ultimate perennial herb garden, one that will keep giving you fresh, homegrown herbs year after year. Stay tuned because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to grow, maintain, and harvest your own herb garden like a pro. Before we jump in, let me tell you why perennial herbs are a game changer. If you're like me, you've probably spent more time than you'd like replanting your herbs every spring, only to have them wilt away in the heat. But with perennial herbs, you plant them once, and they just keep on giving. Fresh basil for your pasta, rosemary for your roast, and mint for your iced tea. Who doesn't want that, right? By the way, if you're excited to learn how to grow your own perennial herb garden, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any future garden tips. Let's dive into it. So, let's start with the basics. What exactly are perennial herbs? In simple terms, perennial herbs are plants that come back year after year. That means once you plant them, you're done for the season. Unlike annuals, which only last for one growing cycle and then die off, perennials keep on giving for multiple years. They're like your garden's long-term best friend. They're reliable, they're low maintenance, and they save you money in the long run. These herbs are perfect for gardeners who want to enjoy the fruits of their labor without all the constant replanting. I don't know about you, but I love the idea of just planting something once and having it keep coming back year after year, ready for harvest. Plus, perennials are great for beginner gardeners or anyone with a busy schedule because they require much less attention once they're established. And here's the bonus. Perennial herbs are tough. Some of them can even handle the harshest of conditions. So if you're dealing with poor soil, inconsistent watering, or even a bit of neglect, these herbs will still thrive. It's like they're saying, hey, I've got this. You do you. I'll keep growing. Now here's the kicker. Growing perennial herbs means you get to enjoy fresh, flavorful herbs all year long without the headache of replanting. It's the gift that keeps on giving, both in terms of the herbs you'll be able to harvest and the joy of having that vibrant green garden at your fingertips. Pretty amazing, right? Now, let's talk about one of the most popular herbs you probably already know and love, basil. But here's a little secret. While basil is traditionally known as an annual herb, it doesn't have to be. Yes, you heard me right. If you grow basil in the right conditions, it can actually be a perennial. Here's the trick. Basil loves warmth and sunshine, so it thrives in climates where the temperatures don't drop too low. But if you live somewhere chillier, no worries. Just bring it indoors during the winter, and it'll keep coming back season after season. Basil is also one of those herbs that loves sunlight. Give it 6 to 8 hours of direct sun each day, and it'll reward you with plenty of vibrant, fragrant leaves. You know the ones, the leaves that go into your pasta, pesto, or caprese salads. Delicious, right? Now here's something important. Basil does not like to be overwatered. It's one of the few herbs that actually prefers to be on the drier side, so make sure the soil drains well and let it dry out between waterings. If you have a habit of giving your plants a little too much love and attention, basil will thank you for easing off on the watering. Another thing to keep in mind, if you let basil flower, it will stop producing those tender, flavorful leaves. So, as soon as you notice those little flower buds popping up, pinch them off to keep the plant focused on growing more leaves for you. And let's not forget, basil isn't just for cooking. It's a fantastic herb for making refreshing teas or even adding a fragrant touch to your smoothies. Next up, we've got mint. And let me tell you, this herb is a powerhouse. Now, mint is one of those herbs that's practically impossible to kill, and it'll happily grow and multiply every year. It's like the overachiever of the herb world. But here's the deal. Mint has one tiny flaw. It loves to spread and can easily take over your entire garden if you're not careful. So my best advice? Plant it in containers. That way you can contain its wild ambitions and still enjoy all the fresh mint it has to offer. Mints come in so many different varieties: peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint, you name it. And trust me, all of them are incredibly easy to grow. Just make sure you're planting them in a spot that gets at least 6 hours of sunlight a day.
They also like well-drained, slightly moist soil. So a little water here and there will keep them happy, but be sure not to let them sit in soggy soil. The best part, mint keeps coming back stronger every year. You'll be amazed at how quickly it grows, especially if you harvest it regularly. I mean, who doesn't love a nice, refreshing mojito in the summer, right? Or how about mint tea, perfect for soothing your throat or just winding down after a busy day. And let's not forget mint's ability to add that delightful zing to dishes, salads, or even smoothies. It pairs so well with chocolate, making it perfect for desserts like mint chocolate chip ice cream or brownies. So if you're new to gardening or want something that's practically foolproof and super rewarding, mint is your herb. Just keep it in a container and let it do its thing. It's almost impossible not to succeed with mint, and you'll be harvesting it all year long. All right, now let's talk about chives, the quiet heroes of your herb garden. Honestly, I can't say enough about chives. These little plants are so easy to grow and maintain, yet they give you so much in return. Every spring, they'll pop up right on time, ready to add a fresh, oniony kick to your dishes. Plus, their beautiful purple flowers are a gorgeous bonus that attract pollinators like bees and butterflies to your garden. What I love most about chives is how low maintenance they are. You don't have to worry about pampering them too much. They thrive in almost any soil. Just make sure it's well drained and they'll be happy. And whether you're planting them in a garden bed or in a container, chives are really adaptable. They're perfect for small spaces or growing in a pot on a sunny balcony. Chives love a sunny spot, so make sure they get at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight a day. And while they're drought tolerant, they do appreciate regular watering. Just make sure the soil isn't soggy. The beauty of chives is that once they're established, you can cut them back regularly and they'll just keep growing. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Chives are amazing because you don't need to use the entire plant at once. You can just snip off the leaves as you need them, and the plant will keep growing new ones for you. And let me tell you, fresh chives on scrambled eggs or sprinkled on baked potatoes, delicious. You can even add them to salads or use them to add a bit of freshness to your soups. They're so versatile and perfect for almost any dish. Next up, we've got thyme. And let me tell you, if you haven't had thyme in your garden yet, you're in for a treat. Thyme is one of the most versatile herbs out there. Not only is it incredibly easy to grow, but it can be used in pretty much every savory dish imaginable. Whether you're roasting veggies, flavoring stews, or making homemade soups, thyme is the herb that pulls everything together with its earthy, slightly lemony flavor. What's even better is that thyme is practically indestructible. This herb thrives in poor soil, and once it's established, it requires very little attention. It's perfect for those of us who might not always have the time to tend to every single plant. Just give it a spot in full sun, around 6 hours a day, and make sure it's planted in well-drained soil. That's really all it needs. It really doesn't like too much water, so let it dry out between waterings. The thing I love about thyme is how resilient it is. It can handle a little neglect, and it'll still produce those flavorful little leaves for you year after year. And if you're looking for a low-maintenance herb, thyme is definitely your friend. It will just keep growing and giving you fresh, fragrant leaves without much work from you. Plus, thyme makes for a gorgeous ground cover if you're growing it in a larger garden or on a sunny, dry spot. It forms dense green patches that not only smell amazing, but look pretty too. And when it flowers, the blooms attract bees, making it great for your pollinator-friendly garden. Use thyme in everything from roasted chicken to Mediterranean dishes like Greek salad and lamb. If you're making a savory dish, thyme is one of those herbs that enhances the flavor without overpowering it. And don't worry if you don't use it all at once. Thyme dries really well, so you can harvest it and use it later for soups or stews in the winter. Now let's talk about rosemary. This one's a bit special. Rosemary is like the queen of herbs. It's strong, it's aromatic, and it brings this incredible savory depth to any dish. But here's the thing, rosemary can be a little picky, especially when it comes to sunlight. It's got a bit of a diva personality, but trust me, it's totally worth it. Rosemary loves the sun, like really loves it. Make sure it gets at least 6 hours of direct sunlight a day. If it doesn't get enough, you'll notice it struggling a bit. But when it's happy, it thrives. You'll end up with this gorgeous, bushy plant that's perfect for snipping fresh sprigs to add to your cooking. And let me tell you, fresh rosemary on roasted potatoes or in your homemade focaccia, heaven. The thing is, rosemary is a Mediterranean plant, so it's used to dry, well-drained soil.
It doesn't like wet feet, so make sure you plant it in a spot that has good drainage. If you're growing it in a pot, a terracotta pot works great because it helps the soil dry out faster. And here's a fun fact. If you've ever tried growing rosemary and found it a bit slow at first, it's okay. It can take a little time to establish itself, but once it does, you'll see it really take off. Plus, it's a perennial, so once it's set up, you'll have fresh rosemary year after year with minimal care. Now, I know rosemary can seem a little high maintenance at first, but it's absolutely worth it. Not only does it add amazing flavor to meat, potatoes, and even bread, but it also makes a stunning plant in the garden. And if you're someone who loves making aromatic sachets or DIY beauty products, rosemary is perfect for that too. It's a real multitasker. Okay, let's move on to oregano, another must-have perennial herb. If you love Italian food, you need oregano in your garden. It's like the best friend of basil, and together they're the dream team for any pizza or pasta. Oregano brings this robust, earthy flavor that makes it one of the most essential herbs for home-cooked meals. Oregano is pretty hardy. This herb loves full sun, but it can tolerate a little shade too, which makes it really versatile in your garden. Whether you've got a sunny windowsill or a cozy little corner in your yard, oregano will find a way to thrive. It's one of those herbs that's super forgiving, which is why I love it. If you forget to water it a few times, no biggie. It's drought tolerant and just keeps going. It's perfect for those of us who don't want to spend hours fussing over our plants. Just give it good soil, well draining of course, and let it do its thing. And like rosemary, oregano doesn't like to sit in soggy soil. So a quick tip, when planting, make sure your pot or garden bed drains well and avoid overwatering. Oregano's a fan of being left alone as long as it gets the basics right.
Once oregano is established, it's like a little powerhouse. You'll be able to harvest fresh leaves all season long, and if you're smart about it, you can dry it for the winter months when fresh herbs aren't as abundant. Honestly, I don't think I could live without oregano in my garden. It's a lifesaver for quick meals like pizza, pasta, and salads. You can even add it to homemade marinades for grilled chicken or roasted veggies. It's just so versatile. So, if you're a fan of fresh, homegrown herbs but don't want to deal with a ton of maintenance, oregano is your herb. It's tough, it's reliable, and it will be there for you season after season. Plus, if you've got a sunny spot in your garden or even just a nice pot on the balcony, this little herb will make your meals taste like they came straight from a fancy Italian restaurant. Now, last but definitely not least, let's talk about sage. Sage. This herb is so special. It's got that rich, earthy flavor that pairs perfectly with roasts, poultry, and even in savory stuffing. It's one of those herbs that gives a dish that deeper, more complex taste. And the best part? Sage is incredibly easy to grow and thrives with very little attention, making it a fantastic choice for beginners and seasoned gardeners alike. Here's the thing about sage. It loves the sun, like really loves it. Give it 6 hours of full sunlight and it'll be a happy camper. If you're planting it in the ground, make sure the soil drains well. Sage doesn't like sitting in wet soil. So plant it in a spot where water won't pool around the roots or in a pot with good drainage. Sage is also quite resilient once it's established. It can handle dry conditions, and it actually prefers a little neglect, which is perfect for anyone who's busy or new to gardening. Just make sure to give it a good trim every now and then to keep it from getting too woody, and it will reward you with fresh, fragrant leaves all year long. You can harvest the leaves anytime during the growing season, and the more you harvest, the more it'll grow. It's like the plant is saying, "Cut me back, and I'll give you more." And let's not forget about its beautiful silvery green leaves. Sage adds a lovely touch to your garden even when you're not using it in your cooking. Plus, the leaves are perfect for drying. You can use dried sage for cooking in the winter months or even make your own herbal sachets to keep your home smelling fresh. So, if you're looking for a low-maintenance herb that provides huge rewards in the kitchen and your garden, sage is a must-have. Plant it once and it'll keep giving you fresh, flavorful leaves for years to come. And the best part? It's virtually indestructible once it's established. Now that you know which herbs to plant, let's get into the fun part, planting and caring for them. The best part about perennial herbs is that once you get them established, they're super low maintenance. But, of course, like any plant, they need a little TLC at the start. First things first, these herbs absolutely love rich, well-drained soil. You want the soil to be loose and airy, not compacted, so the roots can spread out and grow without resistance. A good way to achieve this is by mixing in plenty of organic material, like compost, which will help improve the soil structure and provide nutrients to your herbs. Now, let's talk about planting. When you're ready to plant, dig a hole that's about twice the size of the root ball of the herb you're planting. The hole should be deep enough so the roots are well covered, but not too deep that the plant gets buried. You want to make sure the top of the root ball is level with the surrounding soil so your herb doesn't end up too deep in the ground. Place the herb in the hole and then gently fill it back with soil. You don't need to pack the soil too tightly, just enough to ensure the plant stays in place. After that, water it in well. A good soak will help settle the soil around the roots and reduce any air pockets that might interfere with the plant's growth. Now, here's the key to a thriving perennial herb garden: sunlight. Perennials need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight a day. Make sure to choose a sunny spot for your herbs, whether it's in your garden or even on your balcony if you're planting in containers. If you're planting in a pot, make sure the pot has drainage holes at the bottom to let excess water escape. Herbs really don't like sitting in waterlogged soil. If you're planting in containers, I'd recommend using a good quality potting mix instead of garden soil. It's lighter, drains better, and gives your herbs the best chance to thrive. And remember, your herbs aren't like houseplants that can survive in low light. These guys are sun lovers. They need that light to produce those vibrant, tasty leaves. Okay, let's dive into some of the common problems you might run into when growing perennial herbs, and more importantly, how to fix them. Don't worry though, gardening is all about trial and error, and with a little knowledge, you'll be a pro in no time. First, let's talk about overwatering. This is probably the most common mistake people make with herbs, and it's an easy one to fix. Perennial herbs prefer dry feet, meaning they like to dry out between waterings. You know how we all love to shower our plants with attention? Well, when it comes to herbs, a little goes a long way. For most herbs, watering once a week is plenty, unless it's super hot or dry. You can always check the soil before watering. Stick your finger in. If it's dry a few inches down, it's time to water. But if it's still damp, hold off. Now, let's talk about pests. Unfortunately, some herbs like mint are a magnet for aphids and other little critters. You might notice some tiny bugs hanging around your plants. If that happens, don't panic. The best way to get rid of these pests is a gentle jet of water. Just spray them off with your garden hose or a spray bottle. If you're dealing with other pests like spider mites, you can use natural insecticidal soap or a mixture of water and dish soap. Just spray it on the leaves, making sure to get the undersides where bugs like to hide. Another common problem is lack of sunlight. If you notice your herbs aren't thriving or are getting spindly, it's likely that they're not getting enough light. Most perennial herbs need 6 hours of sunlight a day to stay healthy. If you're not seeing the growth you expected, try moving your herbs to a sunnier spot. And remember, if you're growing in containers, the location of your pots can make a huge difference. You want them to get direct sunlight for the best results. And here's a tip for you. If you're growing in a particularly shady spot, you might want to choose herbs that tolerate lower light levels, like chives or mint. They'll still grow, just not as vigorously as they would in full sun.
Now for the fun part, harvesting your herbs. There's nothing quite like stepping into your garden and picking fresh, flavorful herbs for dinner. Here's how to do it right. First, always harvest the top leaves of your herbs, especially with basil. Pinch them off as you need them to encourage more growth. Don't be shy about harvesting. Regular cutting actually makes your plant grow fuller and healthier. With rosemary and thyme, you can simply snip off sprigs when needed. For oregano, just trim a few stems at a time to avoid cutting too much. And for chives, you can just snip the leaves right at the base, leaving the rest to keep growing. Once you've harvested your herbs, use them fresh. But don't worry if you've got more than you can use. Drying and freezing herbs are great options for preserving them for later. For drying, just bundle them together, hang them upside down in a dry spot, and within a week, they'll be ready to store in jars. For freezing, chop them up, place them in an ice cube tray with a little water or olive oil, and freeze them. Now you've got ready-to-use herbs all year long. Before we wrap up, here are a few bonus tips to keep your herb garden thriving. First, companion planting is a fantastic way to boost your herb garden's health. For example, plant basil next to your tomatoes. Those two love each other. And rosemary helps keep pests away from your beans and cabbage, so plant them together. Also, if you live in a cooler climate, consider using row covers or garden cloches to protect your herbs from frost in the winter. It's a simple way to extend your growing season and ensure you get those year-round harvests. I hope you're feeling inspired to start your own perennial herb garden today. It's really not as complicated as it seems, and with the right care, you'll have fresh herbs at your fingertips all year long. If you're ready to get growing, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more tips and gardening hacks. And I'd love to hear from you. What are your favorite herbs to grow? Drop them in the comments below and share your gardening stories. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy gardening.